Hey everyone, welcome back. Um, I wanted to talk today quickly about HeMan. Um, there was sort of the golden age of cartoons and comics to some degree. I think back in the sort of the late '70s to mid '80s, um, and you had superheroes that were still super. And I think that a lot of people today's world, especially from the uh, the grievance study types, they take a look at simply the aesthetic. So, he was a big buff dude, must be toxic, must be teaching boys bad lessons, um, and I think that's absolute garbage. And so I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and it was after post workout. We're in the gym just changing, and he said something about superheroes, and I'll get to that later. But it got me thinking a little bit about He-Man, and and one of the things is that there's certainly a binary in He-Man, of course. So there's He-Man, but he didn't just walk around as He-Man. His everyday life persona, he was Prince Adam, and Prince Adam was sort of a happy-go-lucky, kind of lazy guy. He liked to go fishing with his cat Cringer, and not really care too much about the troubles of the world. Sort of like a bit of a man child, if you will. And when there was trouble coming at his kingdom, he would transform into He-Man, and his cat Cringer, who was a very timid, scaredy cat, literally, would transform into Battle Cat, and so you saw that, and it's easy for young boys to see this transformation, that you're not always walking around looking for a fight, but that if there's trouble, you have to change yourself and stand up to that. And I think that's tremendously important. So you've got that, and also that's easy to pattern good and evil. And I know there's a bit of a push these days to try and, I don't know, um, try to get rid of all binaries, all dualities. Um, Tell kids that, anything, there's everything shades of gray, and it is. But I've got a 3-year-old son. Trying to explain to him any kind of subtlety or nuance is not possible. His brain just hasn't developed to that point yet. But it is easy to say, good or bad or yes or no. Those are very concrete ideas that he can get. And so having a superhero that falls into that is actually beneficial, because it's easier for kids to latch on to something they can understand. And why is that important? Well, getting back to what I was saying about my friend, he says to me, he goes, superheroes were so crucial to me growing up, because my dad was out of the house working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And because of that, I had to look at superheroes as my role models. And what did I learn from superheroes? Well, I learned that that they did what was right and what was good, even if it was hard, and they stood up for what they believed in. And those are tremendously important lessons for a young person to learn. And that's what you get from these superheroes. And that's super important. So I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit today. And then the other couple of things too is that, the other thing that's often overlooked, especially in the original TV cartoon, I believe, in the early 80s, which I saw as I was older. But one of the things is that He-Man tried to outsmart opponents. He didn't just brutalize them. He didn't just try to overpower them. Of course, he did sometimes when he needed to, but he would still try to outsmart his opponents. He didn't just rely on his brawn. He also used his brains. That's super important. And the other thing about it, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about sort of that early heyday of cartoons that were directed, to kids, is that you had a lesson, right? A moral of the story. And things have kind of gotten away from that because, yeah, it does seem kind of hokey and kind of cheesy, but I think that it's important to have a little blurb at the end to encapsulate to a kid. Hey, did you check out this about this show? Did you happen to notice this character doing this and then this? It's good to point those things out. And so for today, I just wanted to leave you with a bit of a lesson from one of HeMan's shows, and I like the lesson quite a bit. So here we go. Sibylline had always been an evil sorceress, but she was able to change her ways for the better. Maybe there's something about yourself that you don't like, a bad habit perhaps. It's easy to say, I can't change, but the truth is, you can change almost any behavior if you really want to. And the first step is saying to yourself, I can. Well, I guess that's it for me now. Have yourself a great day.